Hey, what's up, guys? This is Elizabeth from IELTS Jetty, and today we are going to talk about IELTS Writing Task 1 Academic Module. We all know that preparing for the IELTS exam is not a walk in the park, and to many, it could even be something that requires much effort or skill to accomplish it. It is mind-bending, but take heart and subscribe to our channel and we'll walk you through. Before all else, let's take a look at the different types of graph. First on the list are those with longer time period. Take note of that. Under this type, you may encounter most of the time line graphs, and sometimes you can also encounter bar and table. Another thing to consider in this type is the list of items, which is shorter compared to the list of items in the next type of graph. Check it out. In our example here, we can see a 1983 survey and 2003 survey. Only 2 years compared to the line graph and the bar graph mentioned earlier. But there's more here under this type. There's a longer list of items to compare, and in this type you may also encounter a bar graph or a table. Sometimes the period of time is not specified. Here in our example, the period of time is expressed in words, first year and second year. But don't get mixed up just because you don't see a number. You might think that it should be another type of graph. Be careful and take no risks. Also common in the IELTS exam are graphs without time period. In this type, you need to check whether the indicator or categories are the same. If there are no similarities, then you need to describe the charts separately. In example number 2, which is a bar graph, at least the indicators are the same, but we have different categories. In this case, you should compare across. Your description is not necessarily separate. Take a look at the third example, which is a table. This is similar to example number 2. So the method of description is similar to example number 2, that is to compare across. Last but not the least, combination graphs. As the name suggests, these are a combination of any of the graphs mentioned earlier. Obviously, there are many details to talk about in this type of task, so that brings us to the reminders that we need to commit to mind when dealing with graphs. The first thing that you should do is to analyze the task. Know the type of you are going to deal with, because as I said earlier, there are different methods of description used when describing graphs. After knowing the type of graph, identify the features. These could include any or all of the features mentioned, depending on the type of graph. All these and more from our upcoming videos, so hit that subscribe button down below and tap the notification bell so that you wouldn't miss any of our videos. Don't forget that when you do this, you do them quickly, as you don't have the luxury of time. You only got 20 minutes to tackle task 1. After analyzing the graph, paraphrase the task description. Task description is that sentence that tells us what the graph is all about. Now, some of you may not understand the task description due to limitation in vocabulary or perhaps the complexity of the structure. So what you should do is to look at the graph and analyze what it is. Now, that is one reason why we need to analyze the graph. So how do we paraphrase? Well, there are 2 ways. One is with the use of synonyms, and the other one is with the use of a different sentence structure. Ooh, sounds grammar. Some possible synonyms are already provided for you, so all you have to do is to just follow the structure: subject, verb, object. Now let's talk about the use of different sentence structures. We'll give you two possible sentence structures here. The first one is the inversion pattern, and the second one is the passive voice. We use only one sentence to simplify the explanation for you to clearly see the difference. The sentence on the right is the original one, while the one on the left is the converted one. As you can see, we use different colors to show you the different parts of the sentence. Look at the sentence on the right. The subject is in black color. The verb is well obviously in red, and the one in green is the object of the verb. You will see that these sentence parts were repositioned with some slight changes. In the inversion pattern, the verb goes into the beginning of the sentence, but it has to be in its be form or past participle form. This is called verb 3 in other grammar books. Then add the preposition in plus the subject, the one in black ink, plus the verb are. Then add the object of the verb, the one in green ink. Some of you may wonder, why do we use are and not is? Well, because we have a plural subject, and in the inversion pattern, the subject comes after the verb. The original sentence is an SVO structure. The subject comes before the verb. In the passive voice, the verb is also converted into the BPP form. That is be verb plus the past participle form of the verb. But in this structure, the object of the verb, that is the one in green ink, becomes the subject of the verb. So it goes into the beginning of the sentence. After the verb, add the preposition in plus the subject in the original sentence, that is the one in black ink. It's easy, isn't it? Please do compare the sentence structures and focus on the positions of the different parts of the sentence. Follow the color. We provided you a sample graph with a sample answer to show you the different parts of the description. So now we're moving on to the overview. Overview tells us the most significant information in the graph or the most significant feature of the graph. There are 5 possible pieces of information that you can choose from, but this of course depends on the graph you have. More on this in our upcoming videos, don't worry. The last two that you need to commit to mind are organization and the use of different structures and varied expressions in the body paragraph. Do check the answer for you, provided for you, and use that as reference. If you have something to say or if you have questions, you can leave your thoughts on the comment section down below. And if this video is helpful, kindly click like and don't forget to share. If you haven't subscribed yet, then do smash that red button